Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, this is something that, if you live in New York, certainly affects you. If you live in the other 49 states, you need to keep an eye out for. And a couple of the things here are pretty stupid. It's just plain politics. But one is very important, and it kind of got brushed aside, slipped in, kind of how they do this. On Thursday, in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul signed a piece of legislation into law in New York in regards to gun laws. Okay. And okay, she's out there touting how murders are down or whatever it is. I don't believe the facts because we keep seeing problems. It's like, gee, just because it wasn't with a gun doesn't mean it was with a knife, a sword, a baseball bat, a hammer. It's New York. Trust me. I mean, they'll figure out how to do it with whatever is available. At least New York City. But the three bills, if you will, or the three different categories, okay? The first one is kind of moot because there's a federal law against this already, but is adding pistol converters to the definition of rapid-fire modification devices. Okay. Well, you guys have probably heard of these Glock switches, all right? The thing that the gangbangers are putting on 9mm Glocks to make them fire automatically. Find videos on it all over the place. Just look up Glock switch and you'll see what it is. But it basically turns a semi-automatic pistol into a fully automatic pistol. And again, considering we're talking size, okay, it's the spray and pray mentality for gangbangers. God knows they're not spending any time at the range, trying to sight in a weapon. They just like to spray all over the place. But, okay, so Kathy Hochul signed a bill that outlaws them in New York. Like I said, BFD, because they're already outlawed in the United States. I know there's people that would say, well, that's infringing on our rights. I'll agree, okay? But then I also look at the safety side. We can, you and me, can buy fully automatic weapons, right? You just have to apply for it, pay the tax stamps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and shell out $20,000 for a fully automatic weapon, right? It's the Glock switch that you go on eBay, or used to at least, be able to go on eBay or 3D print the damn thing and attach it to your pistol, and now all of a sudden you've got a semi-automatic weapon. The stupid part about this, of course, is the only people that really use this are gangbangers. Do they pay attention to the laws anyway? No. So this law is, like I said, moot and has no teeth. All right, big deal. Okay. The second one is just plain pure stupidity, all right? And this is strengthening the warnings that gun dealers must provide customers about the risks of firearms. What? Put it in all capital letters? Hey, using this thing irresponsibly can get people killed. Don't point the weapon unless you intend at something unless you intend to kill it. Okay. Say it 3 times in a pamphlet or whatever. Who cares? Okay. You're not doing anything. If I tell it to you 3 times or tell it to you 1 time or I yell at you, it doesn't change the fact. 99.99% of the people know guns can be used to kill people, animals, do damage. Let's just leave it that way. Okay. You don't need to tell them again. Especially if you're going in and buying a gun, I think you know what its purpose is for. But the third one is the one that's most concerning. And this is refining how credit card companies track purchases at gun dealerships. Specifically, and this is the verbiage, okay, this law gives enforcement the opportunity to find out exactly who may be stockpiling ammunition. Okay, So what they're saying is the gun store, Walmart, Tractor Supply, wherever you're going to buy ammunition, Bass Pro Shops, pick something, now has to report, or I'm sorry, the credit card company now has to report, hey, this person came in and bought how much? What's considered stockpiling? Okay. Is buying 50 .556 rounds, one box, stockpiling? Is buying 50 rounds of 9mm stockpiling? Is it buying a box of shotgun shells, stockpiling? What's the limit? Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 500? I mean, depending on how many rounds you buy. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but we'll go out to the range and it's nothing for me to pop off 200, 300 rounds just in practice. Okay. Is that stockpiling? Oh my God, he bought 200 rounds. Yeah, I'm just going to go out to the range for a couple hours on a Saturday and practice. Okay. You know, I told you guys when PBJ was here over Christmas, I mean, we went through probably about 300 rounds in less than an hour. Okay. Teaching her how to shoot pistol. Okay. Is that considered stockpiling? What's the number? They want to prohibit people from stockpiling ammunition. What good is a weapon without ammunition? There's my question. What you want to go back to the second one? We're teaching somebody, telling somebody about the dangers of a weapon. I will tell you what is more dangerous. Put a weapon in the hands of somebody who doesn't have practice using it. How many of y'all have ever been to the gun range and there's some newbie out there who, not even thinking, just turns 90 degrees and all of a sudden, you see marshals, range marshals freaking out, get that weapon pointed back down range because they're not even thinking about it. But if you don't have ammunition, why go to the range? So you can go bang, bang, bang? That's not going to do it. So not only is the first two laws moot, but the third one is actually contradictory to the second one, because by people not being able to buy ammunition, not being able to stockpile, as they call it, and again, I'll ask what the number is, you're prohibiting people from getting the training they need on how to prevent violence, how to not have accidental shootings. I mean, there's the thing. They don't think past here, always, all right? How many rounds do you go through a year practicing on how many different platforms? I mean, you may be using 7.62, you may be using 5.56, 9mm, 45 ACP, you go out with your shotgun a little bit, and it's like, gee, you know what? I just went through 3, 4, 5 different types of rounds, calibers potentially, and I needed to practice on all of them so I knew what to do. Oh, and so did my spouse, and so did my kids. And let's see, if we have 4 in a family and we go through 300 rounds each time we go out to the range, that's 1,200 rounds. And we do that once a month, and now you go, that's 14,400 rounds to practice with for a family. What's considered stockpiling? Start thinking about this. Now, what it doesn't say, and I'm not fully familiar with the New York state laws, what it doesn't say is whether the stores have to report ammunition sales or whether it's just the credit cards. So especially if you were in New York, buy your ammo in cash. Don't put it on a credit card. A lot of things like that, people say, oh, well, that's common sense, but it's getting harder and harder and harder to find ammunition in stores. Okay. I mean, we can all remember during COVID, at least around here, I know for sure, Walmart had nothing. Okay, no ammo for a couple of years. Now, whether or not your Walmart carries them, that's up to whatever state laws you guys have. But it was difficult to find it. So where were a lot of people buying ammo? Online. All right. Now, you're not buying online with cash, so you got to put it on a card. Whether or not this is possible, you're going to have to check. And again, this is going to be different for every website. This is where you potentially, if you want to do it, go get a prepaid card, put money on the card, buy your ammo, and get rid of it. The last thing you need is Kathy Hochul and her goon squad showing up at your front door going, "We show you bought 50 rounds of ammunition. We think you're stockpiling and getting ready for a war." Why else? They say specifically that. Stockpiling because they want to make sure people don't have bad ideas. I don't know. What would be a bad idea? Exercising your Second Amendment rights to protect yourself against a tyrannical government? I don't know. By my definition, hell, by Webster's definition, Kathy Hochul could pretty much be called a tyrant. So therefore, she runs a tyrannical government, which is the whole point of owning weapons. And in order to make them work, you got to buy ammunition. But what's the first thing that any tyrant will try to do? Pick a country. Look at all the examples. The first thing they want to do is disarm the population. Well, they can't do it. We've said this for years. They can't take away your guns. So now they're just going to make it harder to get ammo. And gee, if you go out and buy yourself a box of 100 rounds of 22, they're going to know. Gee, what have we been saying for years? Get it now before you can't get it later? This is one state. This is just what happened. Other states have similar laws, inevitably. And again, I'm not familiar with the gun laws, the reporting laws, the ammunition laws in all 50 states, and I'm certainly not going to go look it all up. But you need to be aware of what your state laws are, at least in this one. New York, cash is king. Pinball out.